Hi there, I am Matthew Wexler with Queerty, and I am in bed with none other than Dylan Mulvaney. Hi, Dylan.
I gotta tell you, this is my favorite place to be, and gonna have a better interview because of it.
I know it is because I read your book, Paper Doll Notes from a Late Bloomer, and I feel like 90% of it you're writing from bed.
I think we need to normalize living in bed.
Absolutely. And I feel like there's other things that you like to do in bed too, but not what the viewers might be thinking. I'm not going there yet because we've just started this conversation. There is a certain pizza that you like to get delivered quite a lot. What is on your pizza when it arrives at Dylan's store?
It's a deep dish pizza, and it's just cheese, and then I get Asiago Parmesan, and then I dip with ranch and buffalo. I eat the entire pizza, and that's my sustenance. I do wonder how productive I would be if I did maybe put some nutrients in my body, but I mean, I've made it this far. I think we're doing okay.
I think you're a very hard worker, a multi hyphenate, as exemplified by the book that came out on March 11th. For me, one of my favorite parts is also one of the most literary, and it's when you go to Peru and do ayahuasca.
Tea. I truly was inspired by Chelsea Handler. Also, Zachary Quinto went and has talked about it pretty publicly. It's one of those things where I think if you're supposed to do it and also when you're supposed to do it. I'm someone who likes a quick fix. So after Beergate, I was like, what can I do to solve all my problems? And it was like, boom. I need to go do this thing that I've always thought about doing. There was a moment right before when I took it where I was like, wait, maybe am I not ready to do this? But I was already down in Peru and the shaman was in the room or in the yurt. And so I was like, here we go. That was one of my favorite life experiences ever. I also think it's maybe something my followers wouldn't have thought I would have done. But I love that because I think I'm a lot more woo woo and a little more cuckoo than people really expect. And so that's what I love about this book is it shows the parts of myself and especially the adulthood of what I'm living that I don't really show on the internet. And I think ayahuasca is a very good tell of that.
We see the public Dylan, right? And we see the front facing Dylan, but I think having text where we're in your world in a different kind of way is really special.
Thank you. This is a solid thing that now exists in the world outside of my videos and going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival last year to meet and connect and laugh with others because social media is just isolating. There's so much good that can come from it. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have been able to write this book. I can't wait to go on tour and to talk with all these people.
You talk a lot in the book, and I've heard you talk about this online as well, your desire to get back to the theater. I know you grew up doing theater. Are there particular roles or collaborators that you have your eye on? I have one in my mind, but I'm curious if we're on the same
Okay.
page.
Something I feel passionate about advocating for transness is how do we get trans people in commercial theater that would be epic to see trans people in. I would love to do
100%.
Linda in Wicked, one day. I would love to do a Legally Blonde situation, play Elle Woods and do a trans Legally Blonde. I think that's a perfect musical. Maybe later in life, like Mrs. Lovett. Anything Annalee Ashford has touched, my lock screen is Kristen Chenoweth and Alan Cumming. That kind of world that they live in is the kind of stuff that I want to do. What was the role? What you were you had something in mind.
I can't believe that you didn't say it. Roxy Hart in Chicago.
Oh my God, that's so fun. I feel like so many people that have done it that I'm like, I have to pick a different thing. I guess it's like a rite of passage now to do Roxy.
How I sort of picture you tackling this role is that there's this parallel with your relationship to celebrity, and that role can really be crafted and sculpted to the actor's talent.
Thank you. That's like a completely hot take in the best way. Now you've changed my mind completely.
We'll just need to make some calls. Our people will call their people, and we're just going to stir something up.
That's what I'm hoping for.
A little bit of kiss and tell. So in the book, you write, I haven't been kissed as a girl. That needs to change ASAP. But I have an opportunity to do it right this time. I don't need to compromise my values or my body in the way I did as a gay man. There's so much to unearth in that. First of all, have you had the kiss?
I've had the kiss, and I actually do. I think I talk about at least the kiss maybe in the last section of the book because that when I said that I haven't been kissed as a girl, that was from a journal entry.
Oh, you're at a club, right? Don't you meet somebody when you're out and
Yeah, and there was a few more before that. Now, yes, I've definitely been kissed. That was one of the things I did want to talk about was kind of the pressure I remember as a young gay kid, my cis counterparts and my straight counterparts were hooking up with people their own age, and I just really I wanted to touch a little bit on how tricky it is for especially, such a feminine gay boy trying to navigate kind of the queer dating world back in the day. It can be really toxic, and there's a lot of pressure, and I wanted to do it right this time. And I think I really have. I've still stuck to my guns even after finishing writing the book up to this day. Like I'm not really settling for anything less than amazing. The more that I have found myself to be confident and beautiful and enough, that has translated to my love life tenfold. Like I know that my romantic partners have picked up on that. It's been less about like my gender and my body and more about like where I'm at in the headspace that I occupy. We can tell when other people are confident enough in themselves, and that's attractive, at least to me.
Absolutely. And I think there's something empowering in owning that authenticity. So we met, there were many, many people in the room when you were honored with the Queerty's Groundbreaker Award, which was such an amazing night.
One of my favorite nights.
You were just so excited to be in the room with your family of choice, I think is what you said. This would have been March 2023, and we know what happened a few weeks later, right? You said, it's all worth it, even the hate, which I respond to with trans joy. Do you still feel that way?
I'm gonna thank my past self at the Queerty Awards, and I'm gonna double down and say I was right, because I believe, these extremist transphobic humans, their worst nightmare is trans joy right now. I think that the more that I can show up every day and find joy and find love and find humor and confidence is another day that they're proved wrong. Because if I can get through what happened with Beergate and everything and still want to, show up in the public eye and be willing to share my story because it feels worth it, then hell yeah. I think that is the best thing that I can at least do for myself and the community. I'm not an activist, but I do think I can advocate through my joy. I think that is my way in, at least.
I think there are many ways to define activism. And I think that your visibility is joyful activism, which is amazing. So what's fun about the book is that there's, diary passages and more narrative and things like that. And there's a big chunk of 100 things that you've learned in your first 100 days of girlhood. And I want to rapid fire a couple of them and just get your reactions if you're game.
Okay.
You've done improv, right?
Yes. Let's do it.
Number 26, I still prefer men's razors over women's.
Truth still stands. We need a hot pink razor that is the quality of a men's razor.
Number 48, meeting your heroes is excellent 90% of the time.
Absolutely true. And honestly, that doesn't always mean one of your heroes isn't the greatest person. It's just maybe sometimes you're supposed to just enjoy their art and you're not supposed to be best friends. I think that's something that I've had to learn. Most of the people that I admire end up being as amazing or even better than I could have imagined.
Okay, final one. Number 60, listening to music from a female perspective hits that much harder.
When I sing now a song from a female perspective that I maybe admired back in the day pre-transition, it's like boom. And any activity that I do now that I'm operating in my full identity and in my full authenticity is that much more enhanced in that much more in color. When you're looking at or listening or watching something through a lens that is not your true self, it can't be the most distinct version of that thing. While I enjoyed things and connected to things pre-transition, I feel like almost some of these first steps, first moments really do feel like the first because I'm actually experiencing the way that I'm supposed to.
I want to ask you about the Dylan Mulvaney book club. So that's through Alstora.
They have been so amazing. I put on my vision board last year that I wanted to start a book club, and it felt like perfect synergy. I think reading, especially when we've got so much media to take in, it feels like a perfect escape. It's one of the last places we can completely create in our minds as we're reading along. I'm on the cusp of Gen Z, but I'm really hoping that Gen Z will give this book a shot. And I'm hoping that, and if they, not the book, maybe the audio book. I want to make reading like cute again. My kind of reading is easy reading. I'm not looking to dive into the intense classics. I want sometimes fluff. I want to laugh. Think about Glennon Doyle's book Untamed that really changed my life. And then, Chelsea Handler's books growing up. I would love the way that I felt as like, a college kid grabbing Lena Dunham's book. Shockingly, my book is the pick for March.
Go figure.
I was like, if there's ever a time to choose yourself.
Absolutely. Let's celebrate it. I think I know the answer to this final question, but where is your favorite place to read?
Oh, bet, babe, bet. Or I will say on a lounge chair in like Bora Bora. Ooh, I love picking out a book for like a beach vacation with like a pina colada. You're a little tipsy, but you can take in, a little bit, take a nap. That's the vibe.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much. Where can we find you this summer? How long is the book tour happening?
Book tour starts in March. The podcast starts in March, so we can find the Dylan Hour through Lemonada Media. Hoping to bring my one woman show from Edinburgh over to the States later this year. So more on that. God, I've loved Queerty. You guys have just been really lovely to me over the years. I want to thank you for that. And thank you for supporting this book. But I think you guys are like the best of the best.
That's sweet. Well, we're only as good as the people who are out there championing for the queer community. So it takes us all. Dylan Mulvaney, thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.